Alright, hello and welcome. My name is Jason Welsh and you are watching Texture Mapping and Materials. So, texture mapping and materials and only texture mapping and materials. Usually this is a texture rendering and lighting course, but I thought that would be a bad name for it. Because really, in a game engine there's no such thing as rendering. So, instead of rendering in a program like Blender, I've decided to make it texture mapping materials, have Blender as the catalyst, GIMP as a catalyst, but the Unity game engine be the overall output to it. Okay, so we're going to be looking at doing UVs within Blender, how to do variations of DVDs, what are mirrored UVs, what are stacked UVs, what's going outside the 0 to 1 ratio. How do you get better resolution? How do you get multiple materials per mesh? And I've used this very simple example right here so it can touch base on all levels, whether you're a pro user or just a person that's just starting out learning UVs. UVs are very complex in their nature, but if you know how to run down the basic shapes of things, UVs are very simple. So in this video completely breaks out every UV situation that I could think of. So it's very in-depth. There's no doubt. I'd never envisioned this series to be as in-depth as it really is, but it is. I would stack this against my Maya texture rendering and lighting course because it's just so in-depth. Now, that being said, when we're talking about texture rendering and lighting, we're going over to an actual game engine. So Blender does have a game engine, but its pipeline is very short. It's not even true to what the industry is. So if you make an asset within Blender, it just stays within Blender, and you hit the game engine, and you can see what it looks like. But what really happens with most engines is you make the assets, you texturize them, you get them all looking pretty, and then you import them into the engine itself. So Blender is just a modeling program, and then the engine is doing its thing as the engine's supposed to. So engines are supposed to be like this, and you hit play, and then you can walk around the scene. So we're going to be looking at that and how that works, and how textures and how shaders interact with things. So I got this small little world that sits in the middle of a big white plane. And what does that all mean? Alright, because you can see over here we got hierarchies and project folders. This has got a lot of project management in it too. So I got a 3-step process for cleaning things, cleaning up the material, mesh data, and then importing it into the engine. So if you never imported anything into the engine at all, or texturize anything for that matter, this is an awesome little series for you. I hope you enjoy it. As a prerequisite, I would say you should probably watch my Modeling 1 DVD. It's located at jasonwelsh.com or on YouTube. The advantage of owning the DVD is the fact that you can launch all these videos in a VLC player. So let me show you that right off the bat. So here's my Modeling 1 course. And if I want to play like Modeling 1, I can go open with, and I have VLC player, media, or media player. So it'll also open on iTunes, and it plays on iPads. So now the advantage of working like this is the fact that you can now go always on top. So if it's always on top, you can put it on your secondary monitor, or you can put it in the foreground and squeeze it up some. These are all in high res, so you can see all the little buttons. And now I can be inside Blender learning while the video is going on in the foreground. So that's the advantage of opening or owning the DVD, the fact that you have the high-res video that you can play in the foreground. Because YouTube, you can only play it and you have to switch to channels and go on. Here you can develop playlists. So that's the idea behind it. It's kind of a caveat, and it helps, me purchase equipment and all that good stuff. All right, so that's it. Enough with the shameless self-promotion. I hope you enjoy the series, and I hope it betters you as an artist. Enjoy.